Uh-oh. Okay, we'll start with this. Ahead of her upcoming title defense this weekend, Ring Magazine champion Mizuki Hiruta forges her own path among trail of Japanese superstars. Over 5,500 miles away from Okoyama, Japan, two athletes have cemented themselves as two of the best in their respective sports. Los Angeles Dodgers' pitcher Yoshinobu Yamamoto single-handedly helped them notch their second straight World Series title, as he was the winning pitcher in 3 of the 4 games en route to winning the World Series MVP against the Toronto Blue Jays. Just over 20 miles away from Dodger Stadium, the Ring and WBO Super Flyweight champion Mizuki Hiruta is looking to continue to blaze her own path. Hiruta will look to defend her titles against Gloria Gallardo on UFC Fight Pass this weekend at Thunder Studios in Long Beach, California, while Yamamoto, Dodgers superstar Shohei Ohtani, and Dodgers right-handed pitcher Roki Sasaki have done their part in representing Japan. Hiruta isn't content just looking up to the trio. I admire them, but I cannot just admire them. Hiruta told The Ring via a translator, I have to be like them. They showed that we can go there. This Japanese renaissance of athletes we've been seeing across different sports and different disciplines, I feel like Mizuki Hiruta is not only the most colorful fighter at super flyweight, but the most memorable. She leaves a lasting impression inside and outside of the ring. I would argue she's the best in show at super flyweight, but because all the titles are split up 4 ways between 4 champions, we won't know until they unify. Hopefully that starts next year. Hiruta, 9-0 with 2 KOs, said that she plans to wear a Yamamoto jersey to her fight this weekend. Hiruta, 29, won the WBO title in 2022 in only her 4th pro fight and will be making her 6th defense of the belt. She was recently awarded her Ring Magazine title. Gallardo, 16-3 with 3 draws and 7 knockouts, of Acapulco, Guerrero, Mexico, represents Hiruta's 4th title defense this year. Oh yeah, Mizuki's been busy. Mizuki, who is trained by Manny Robles, made her U.S. debut in 2025, and her last 3 fights have taken place in the U.S. on the West Coast. The 5'4" southpaw is coming off a unanimous decision win over the previously unbeaten Naomi Cardenas this past August in Santa Ynez. That was a really impressive victory for Mizuki. For most any other fighter, Naomi Cardenas is a handful and a dangerous opponent, but Mizuki handled her handily, beat her comprehensively, and on away soil. So her last 3 fights were in America, but her first 6 were actually in Japan. People here like boxing more than Japanese people, Hiruta said of the biggest difference she's noticed between fighting in Japan and fighting in the United States. They also respect boxers and enjoy boxing itself. Now, who Mizuki reminds me of in pairing up with Manny Robles is how years ago Gennady Golovkin paired up with Abel Sanchez, and some might argue that it was that pairing that really launched Gennady Golovkin's career, because before that, he was flying low on the radar, fighting in Europe. He pairs up with Abel, is exposed to Mexican culture over there in the West Coast, and that's where Mexican style was born. Big drama show. Colorful colloquialisms and catchphrases you often heard Gennady Golovkin say were born out of his partnership with Abel Sanchez, and I feel that Manny Robles is having a similar influence on young
Mizuki!
As she has now been exposed to Mexican culture on the West Coast, what is the hotbed for boxing in America.
The West Side is the best side.
She is now more active as a fighter and a champion than she ever was in years before. It's having a positive effect on her to where she may emerge as the star of the super flyweight division, all without being with a major promotional outfit.
Just imagine what she could do with some money behind her.
Over to the men's super flyweight division, where Bam Rodriguez will be unifying titles with Fernando Martinez, who Robert Garcia says is tailor-made to be stopped by Bam.
Bam!
It's hard to imagine how an undefeated champion with several credible wins on his resume is made to order for a beating, but that's exactly what coach Robert Garcia anticipates when Jesse Bam Rodriguez takes on Fernando Martinez this weekend. The Ring, WBC, and WBO super flyweight champion Rodriguez will take on the WBA champion Martinez as part of Ring 4, Night of the Champions, at the A&B Arena in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. On paper, Puma does look like the toughest opponent to date. Rodriguez's coach, the Ring's 2024 Trainer of the Year, Robert Garcia, told The Ring, but styles make fights. And I think Puma is a perfect style for Bam. In reality, we're not taking this fight lightly. I think Bam can actually make this fight. I don't want to say an easy fight, because it kind of sounds a little too cocky or too confident, and I don't want people to think that, but I think with Puma's style coming straight to Bam, it could be a fight where Bam looks sensational and ends the fight by way of knockout.
So I have it. I have Bam stopping Puma for more reasons than one, not just the styles.
Martinez, a 34-year-old from Argentina and the Ring's #1 ranked fighter at Superfly, has made a name for himself, scoring back-to-back wins against former champion Kazuto Ioka and before that against Jerwin Ancajas. Martinez has held a 115-pound crown since 2022 and would have the IBF title as well if he had not vacated it in October of last year to instead pursue the rematch against Ioka. Martinez unified the titles by beating Ioka in July of last year and repeated this feat in May, only this time to defend the belt.
Those weren't easy fights for Puma. Those were not blowouts. Both fights with Kazuto were competitive fights where there is a legitimate argument the decision could have gone the other way, and I'm surprised that it didn't because Ioka had home field advantage. Both fights were in Japan.
This one's in Saudi, this one's with Bam. So why does Robert Garcia think Puma is made to order for Bam Rodriguez? Is he just talking up his fighter, or is there anything to what he's saying? And there actually is. Puma's too aggressive. Too aggressive, defense is too leaky.
Too easy to hit, and he doesn't have the fancy feet of a Bam Rodriguez, how Bam can cut angles and find holes around the guard to put punches in there. He's quick.
Bam is.
So is Puma, but I think Bam is a little quicker. You will notice that Bam is several years younger than Puma Martinez.
9 years younger, to be exact. Puma is 34. Bam is 25. Bam is the fresher fighter of the two.
What else?
When Puma was going to fight Kazuto Ioka, both times, I remember hearing that Puma was struggling to make the weight, which is conceivable since he's a guy in his mid-30s. So when you think about the styles of the fighters, that Bam already has the right style for the job, and that Puma isn't making this weight as comfortably as he would like, when punches get in, punches do damage, more than usual for a fighter who's struggling to make the weight.
And tack on that Bam is a strong finisher. Even against high-level opponents, Bam shows stopping power. So I think he stops Puma tomorrow. I think Robert is right. I think Puma can make it interesting while it lasts, but he's going to go out on his shield.
He's going to get knocked out.
And I think that because it's a unification match against a fellow champion on a very big show, Bam is inspired. Bam is up for this. I think if he can, he will try to steal the show tomorrow with a highlight reel knockout. So I have Bam, and it's one of the picks this weekend that I'm more confident in.
Over time, Bam Rodriguez has earned my trust and established himself as a pound-for-pound fighter. He comes in at number 8 on the current Ring IQ pound-for-pound list. Collecting another belt and another champion's scalp this weekend, he will move up from number 8
up to number 7, past two-division unified champion Zurdo Ramirez. The next step after that would be to shoot for undisputed, which would theoretically gain Bam more ground on the list. He's coming closer and closer to cracking the top 5. Credit to him because he's going about things the right way.
No, I think the only person who's even remotely taken a risk like this was Canelo moving up to fight Bivol. A 7-pound difference. This is a 40-50 pound difference. I don't think people really want to risk losing or having a tough challenge or risk getting knocked out. But then essentially you're not even doing what the sport is. You're not giving the fans what they want in these massive fights. That's why KSI is scared, Tommy Fury's scared. That's why Tyson Fury and AJ haven't fought. Like, the list goes on of how many major fights haven't happened because of people being scared.
Did your opinion on Ngannou change for not taking the fight and seeing AJ taking the fight?
Yeah, I just thought, he's just an idiot. Like, I'm like, yo, what are you doing? If you're so confident, if you feel so disrespected, you're having all this bad publicity about your name over the past year and a half. This is an opportunity to correct that and stop me. I mean, he's basically also talking shit to Mike Tyson for fighting me. Saying, like, Francis, you're nowhere near the legend. You never will be even close to the legend of Mike Tyson. And you're saying it's disrespectful to get in the ring.
Yeah, I gotta agree. I mean, that was a major opportunity for Francis. It was actually more of an opportunity for Francis than it was for Jake. Francis hasn't been up to much since Anthony knocked him out. Well, Francis Ngannou thought that he was too good for Jake Paul, but Anthony Joshua didn't. And Anthony's the one that knocked out Francis.
Francis fucked up, man.
Now, what Jake said about fights not happening, in its simplicity, was accurate. Fights don't happen in boxing because people are scared. It really is that simple. They try to hide it, try to disguise it behind side of the street politics, promotional politics, money stuff. It's a business. No, you're just fucking scared. And you're using business as a reason to sandbag it. Like what Team Ortiz is doing with Boots right now. Oh, please don't reopen that can of worms. Look, a lot of the time fights don't happen. It's just because one team is scared. They don't want to gamble. They don't want to roll the dice, and they hide behind a business. They ask for a dollar amount that doesn't make sense. Like the Normans did with Boots. Like Team Ortiz is now doing with Boots. What did they ask for? What was it? 10 million to do the fight? 11 million? Something like that? Yeah, you're just fucking scared. You don't want to roll the dice. You want to stay busy making safe money. Jake is right. I mean, a lot of the time, it really just boils down to fear and teams that are scared. And that is why fights don't happen. I know that there are a lot of people out there that perhaps don't like Jake Paul and what he's been doing, but that doesn't take away from what he said, because it's true. A lot of the time, it just boils down to fear. Operating from that perspective leads to a stagnant sport where nobody wants to risk anything, not really. They don't want to roll the dice often enough to entertain the masses, so the masses find something else to watch. Jake is in a unique position to talk his shit because he's taking a risk, a very big one. Big enough that Ryan Garcia doesn't think the fight will really happen. Ryan Garcia said, "I seriously doubt this Jake versus Anthony fight takes place. It's too much of a disadvantage. It just doesn't make sense." After the press conference, that's apparent. It's not the first person I heard say that. To which Jake Paul responded, "What doesn't make sense is you fighting for a WBC title after coming off an ass whooping by Rolly and 5 other things I could bring up. But hey, that's no knock on you. You have big... you don't have a big anything."
Well, Jake is right again.
Ryan came back, said something. Doesn't really matter what it was because Jake was right the first time. Why is Ryan getting a title shot? That doesn't make sense. He's coming off a loss. Before that loss, he was coming off a suspension for a doping violation, gets a title shot, loses, then gets another one.
What the fuck?
The old saying goes, don't shoot the messenger. You want to focus on the message. Now, maybe there are a lot of people out there who don't really like Jake Paul and they don't care for his fights. But that doesn't take away from what he said, because everything he said was true. A lot of the time, when a fight don't happen, it's because one team is scared. And what really doesn't make sense right now is Ryan getting a title shot. Instead of allowing champions to be crowned organically off their ability and the excitement that might create, the sanctioning bodies are forcing it.
They're not even trying to hide it anymore, and this is what's wrong with boxing. More than anything Jake Paul is doing, because what is he doing? Jeopardizing his own health for a big prize? Sounds like a prize fighter to me.
Yeah, that sounds like something that a bona fide prize fighter would do. Think about what Netflix is paying this guy, and how many other prize fighters wouldn't take on that exact same risk for that money!
Many of yous bums aren't duking it out with each other in a Walmart parking lot for a lot less than what Jake's about to make for boxing AJ.
Come on.
He is, in effect, with this fight, meeting a demand and giving the audience something that they want. A lot of people for a long time now have wanted to see Jake Paul fight somebody his own size. Instead of that, he's fighting somebody bigger than him. They've wanted to see him in there with a bona fide boxer. Without so much angling, not a retiree or somebody who's coming up on their senior years, somebody who can fight back, and that's what he's delivering. Any business that is a business relies on the principle of supply and demand. In effect, Jake is adhering to that demand and supplying the fans with what they want. They want to see him get hurt. He's putting himself in a position where he might be.
Well, that might happen.
So maybe this guy understands the sport of boxing and how it should be run as a business better than the would-be business guys. He is the one who brought Netflix to the table, after all. It wasn't Top Rank. It wasn't PBC. It wasn't even Matchroom. It was Jake.
Maybe he understands this industry a bit better than people give him credit for. A lot of time has been spent analyzing Jake Paul's motivations. That if this is a legitimate fight, a for real fight, why would he put himself in harm's way like this? Such a far deviation from all of the creative matchmaking and angling that we've been seeing throughout Jake Paul's short-lived boxing career. Is this the end? And it might be, but let's just say that it is. And after this, he's done. Anthony Joshua finishes him and puts the fear of God in him. He don't want to box no more, right? Let's go with that. If he were to retire after the Anthony Joshua fight, understand that he will have made more money from the sport of boxing than most serious boxers. That's not clear enough for you. Let me start naming some names. Jake Paul will have come in and left out making more money than both the Charlo brothers,
Then Deontay Wilder.
oh yes,
And having fought the fighter that Deontay Wilder never fought. He never fought Anthony Joshua. Always found a way out of that fight. Always found someone else to fight. And Jake Paul would have done all this having not boxed for a full alphabet title. I know that he expressed some interest in becoming a world champion, but the whole point of doing that and going through that process is so you can start making big money. And he's already making big money. So does he actually need to box for a title? Does he really? I think this guy is smarter than he lets on, than people give him credit for. I think he understands this industry better than a lot of people that have been working in it for many years. After this, Jake Paul could very well retire.